And so on my videos, I sound great, but on the stream, it's like people can barely understand me. So now I know better.
Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty.
Well, as soon as we get Rosqo in here, we can get this started. I sent him the info to our Discord. So, yeah, he made a whole list of things that we could talk about.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to hear what he has to say because I mean, it is going to be really helpful to hear things from his point of view. Obviously, we see his videos, but I know, like, you know, myself, I tend to edit out or just kind of avoid recording whenever there's certain types of teams out there because like it's no fun to watch. Nothing but
Emperor
um,
Crab solo a whole team.
exactly. And you know, if you don't have a counter crab or a blossoming ancient, like who wants to watch that? So
Yeah.
um, you know, there's a lot of things that are in my meta that people don't necessarily see, and I'd be curious to see what what Rosqo has to say about his meta because I know he'll still put up some videos where it's like, wow, that's ridiculous. What kind of, you know, I'm sorry, but BS you have to go through in your meta sometimes. There's just some players that wow, they just don't even care. They're just like, yeah, double bone serpent, and then fill in the blank with whatever flavor of the month counter pet there is.
Yeah, you know what was crazy was one time I was watching one of his videos and he went up against a guy who had the untamed hatchling and he used instability and he was faster than his opponent, or like the opponent was faster than Rosqo, and the guy hit with instability on the very first turn and crit with instability.
I
And
remember that.
anyway, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, what BS you have to go through.
I
Oh,
want to say he
You
still
right,
won.
guys.
Hey, Roscoe, what's up?
Rosqo.
We were
How's
just
it
talking
going?
about you, so we'll start saying nice things now.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I was just Linux and I were just talking about how sometimes your meta is just so much more competitive than the U.S. meta, and I was talking about if you remember, and you handled it so well in your video. But what it was is you were going against the Untamed Hatchling, and he used instability the very first round, and it hit you, and it crit you, and anyway, I
Yeah,
remember
I do
thinking.
remember that.
Yeah, I was like, okay, the chances of that are astronomical because a crit is only a 5% hit or like a 5% chance. And then to hit on an instability, that's a 50% chance. So anyway, if I knew how to
Yeah,
do
technically
math,
it's like a 2% chance, just a little over.
yeah. Okay,
It's
so
ridiculous.
yeah, there was a 2% chance that could have happened. And I was like, that is just retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that seem to be running stuff like that on my meta. It is really annoying. All these kind of 50% hit moves, and it's just like you're either gonna just get lucky or you're gonna just miss all the time.
Yeah.
Is the stream already live or
Yeah, we're live.
awesome? Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything like that in my beta for a while. The only thing I used to see Trunks, people would run him without like even any sort of hit chance. They would just I think I used to see MPD Trunks and then just fill in the blank AoE pet. Uh, and they would just spam that stupid when Elix fly, and it was so annoying. But I haven't seen anything like that in my meta. It's just my meta's a little stale, unfortunately, right now. It's if you watch my videos, you'll see I play against a lot of the same teams over and over again. Especially this one guy plays an HP Crusher and a Wicked Soul, and I don't know what it is about that team, but I have such a hard time beating it if I don't have a counter.
Mm-hmm.
That stupid Crusher is really, really good.
Yeah, you keep saying this guy gives you a hard time all the time, and I'm just
Hmm.
like, and especially when you run fun teams, that's the worst when you're facing meta
I
teams. It's
know,
just
because like
like,
I'm trying to play with like Silver Dragonhawk Hatchling and just like fun little pets that are, you know, can situationally do well. But you know, you play against the wrong kind of, you know, really strong humanoid, and you're just screwed.
yeah, for a while I used to have someone that was running double magma agelings, and that was probably the
Mm-hmm.
worst.
Yeah,
That
I
was the
saw a lot of
worst
those.
person I was facing
Yeah, I
because
remember seeing that, and that
just
was painful to watch.
it's
I
just
felt
the
so
trap.
bad.
It's just the traps in the RNG. You just don't know whether they're going to go off. You're trying to play around it to an extent, and then he's got another one that he can use as well.
Yeah, I don't see really any Ragnaros's Wolver pups or anything in my meta.
Well,
But that's
go ahead.
yeah, that was probably the worst team because it's just so RNG. It's you can't play or counter a trap really that well.
Mm-hmm.
You can use critters, but it's not that viable all the time, and you don't want to be running critters for every single kind of team you make, because then you just get countered with something like a Direhorn or any other kind of beast. You're going to get countered in the end.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was saying is like, you start playing with critters, and then suddenly Mr. Double Magma Rageling brings a Direhorn for their third pet, and you're like, well, fun now.
Yeah. Well, my mate has been super soft because I haven't done any PvP pet battles in like 4 weeks. So I've won every single one I've done.
Nice.
Yeah, I was actually kind of bummed that on vacation, or my vacation coincided with the pet battle week, because I like getting, 15 free stones because I have 15 110s. And so all I do is just create fun teams and then just goof around for that week. And anyway, I did not get that chance.
Oh, bummer. Yeah, I didn't even get to finish all of mine. And I only have like seven 100s plus.
Mm-hmm.
But I just was too busy to get all of my all of my battles in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only got 4, so it's not too bad. But as you said, you can kind of just mess around and kind of have kind of goofy, fun, silly teams that necessarily wouldn't do that well or would do okay. But because there's less experienced people in there, you can almost get away with it a lot of the time. So that's what I kind of like about the Critter event the most, that you can just kind of take your foot off the gas for a little while.
Yes. I totally agree with that.
It's the best time of the month.
So Nathan wants us to talk about how great the purple puffer is and turkeys.
I love the purple puffer. I mean, that's definitely one of the pets that I put on my list for tier 1 pets that most people will probably be like, really? I don't know. But he is so good. Like you don't want to underestimate him. If you don't have a counter for him, he can heal a lot. He can really dish out some good damage.
Seriously, that pump though, if you pump and then you surge until they're within, one-shot damage, and they can be one-shotted. Like, I crit the other day with my purple puffer's pump, and it hit for almost 2,000 damage. It was like 1,968 damage or something.
Dang, that must have been an elemental. But it's
yeah,
crazy.
It was on an elemental. It was on one of the tamers out on the Broken Isle or Broken Shore. The one who's got 2 magic types, and then he has an elemental. He's got a Fell Flame at the end. But
I know what you're talking about.
It is the hardest hitting pump user, isn't it?
Oh, I'm quite sure.
Oh, probably.
I'm fairly sure.
I'm gonna check, but I mean, I can't think of anything that would have higher attack power and pump.
Yeah,
I think technically the Slithershock Elver power breed has the same attack power, but not the heal.
And it's just not
aren't as good.
Yeah, it's not as viable on the same speed, the lower speed, is it? With the clobber and dodge are just devalued.
Yeah, and then also surge on a power pet. Very, very fun.
Hey, so speaking of pets, I just wanted your opinion on something. I've been trying for the autumnal sproutling for a long time. Like, I've wasted probably 1,200 pet charms on autumnal sproutlings trying to get an SS breed. And anyway, I got a power breed, and I was thinking he probably wouldn't be terrible running Club, Nature's Ward, and then Fist of the Forest. Just kind of play him as like a really hard hitter rather than like a Nightshade Sproutling sort of.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is, like, speed Nightshade Sproutling is going to be better than speed Autumnal Sproutling.
Yeah.
And so, I would probably go with power. That could actually be a really strong pet if you pair it. Like, I'm glad you're not in my meta if you try this, but he would really not be a half bad pet to pair with, say, the Anubis Hath Idol or some sort of Sandstorm user, because his hit chance isn't affected by Sandstorm, and he can just hit really hard.
While
at the same time healing. So like you throw up Sandstorm, then you can throw up Nature's Ward, and you're going to be really hard to kill with that power Nature's Ward taking away.
Yeah, I've got the Autumnal Sproutling in one team, and it is the power, and it's with a Phosphor Rat and Bone Serpent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really strong team, and this is one of those teams where you just get some damage with the Sproutling, send it to the back line, and then comes back to kind of sweep up when it's nearly full health again.
That's brilliant because it's not
that.
affected by healing, or it's not affected by Call Darkness.
Yeah, so you don't lose out on that Nature's Ward, unlike kind of your Terror Claws or your Puddle Jumpers or Puddle Terrors even that would with that Nature's Ward.
Wow, I think that's brilliant, man. I love that idea.
Yeah, obviously speed would be nice, but I don't personally have either of them. I've tried I think twice so far to get one of the good breeds, and I haven't quite gotten it yet.
Well, hey, I have an extra power if you'd like one.
Oh, well, that'd be awesome, but you don't have to do that.
I'd love to.
I have both the power and the speed breeds.
Nice.
Okay.
I think I took ages to get the speed. I think I was just going around auction house after auction house and different servers trying to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that was a really good segue. You were talking about weather effects to use it. That was one of the things that Rosqo, he kind of came up with a list of things that we could talk about. And anyway, I think, I was thinking about weather effects on the walk with my wife. And it's interesting to me that some of the weather effects, they don't really, there's not a lot of synergy with them. Like, there's no attacks that do bonus damage if Sandstorm's up, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much I want to encourage Sandstorm, but I do still have to agree with you. There's very, very few things that really synergize well with it.
Yeah, I mean, I could only really think about the Sandstorm is that it kind of punishes the current meta in that the Haunt and Imp teams really suffer against the Sandstorm team in that Haunt is reduced, the Immolation is kind of reduced. But I mean, other than that, multi attacks is kind of reduced as well. But it doesn't have much synergy. You've got that RNG of the mischance in there. It's not a kind of ability I like to use often because I kind of prefer the kind of the dotty, not necessarily Haunt, but kind of dots, and I prefer that kind of play style to the kind of full hard hitting abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I just honestly wish that that Sandstorm just avoided they took out the 10% mischance and just left it with the damage mitigation, because that would actually be pretty cool, because you could start synergizing with stuff like, wind up, maybe even odd pets like the pocket cannon, which are like, the pocket cannon is terrible, but if you didn't have the chance for it to miss, something with just really kind of wind up and nuke type abilities could be pretty cool under Sandstorm.
Mm-hmm.
But that 10% chance to miss, you can't afford that. If you miss a pump or a wind up or like one of those shots from the pocket cannon under Sandstorm, you effectively just lost 2 turns in a row.
Yep.
Yeah, you invest too much into those abilities, don't you, to miss?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of you lose 2 turns and it's probably a good game. Yeah. Unless the opponent makes some mistakes as well, gets some misses as well.
Yeah, I mean, in the current meta, you can lose the game off of 1 miss. So 2 is basically, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the strongest weather effect is probably darkness. That's what I would.
Say I totally agree.
Because I mean, there is a lot of healing in the right now. Dark is definitely the best I think it's ever been.
And I was thinking it's generally on quicker pets. I mean, it's on the flyers that have the Nocturnal Strike and Darkness, and also there's a lot of the critters that have the Phosphor Rat and the Blind Rat have it as well. And they're kind of, because they're quicker, they're generally better in the meta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, speed is almost everything right now. To be honest, like
yeah,
the current meta.
It really is.
It used to be health back in WoD. It really used to be health. Like I backed the health bone serpent all day, but just basically as long as you go faster than 260, you're okay. But the faster you can go, the better. And 260 is of course so you can outspeed Terraclaws.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean I was actually trying to come up with some fun teams. Hero recommended I try making a team with snails. Just try to, because it's a kind of pet that everybody's going to have, so it could be fun to try to create a competitive team with it. First thing I thought is, well, he has Ooze Touch. That doesn't hit that hard because he doesn't have very much attack power because I'm using the HH. But if you throw up maybe something like Moonlight, then that Ooze Touch is going to start hitting pretty hard. And I mean, I love Moonlight. I think it's one of my favorite weather abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, there's just so few pets that can throw it out. Like, of course, there is the Nether Fairy Dragon, but then like there's almost nothing else that's actually all that good, in my opinion, that can throw out Moonlight.
You should try Bamfu.
I just need to get him still. I would love to get him. I just need to get him.
Yeah, he's the pain in the butt to get, because after completing the Order Hall campaign, you have to get your artifact weapon to level 52, and
are you serious?
Yeah, so that's a chore. So gratefully I had not done like any questing at all on my monk in any single area. I just leveled them 100% through pet battles. So I went into Suramar, and with just all the stuff in Suramar, I was able to
Power. Thanks so much, man.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I was able to get the 520 or 520 million and get that last level. But yeah, he's super cool. He's an SS. He's like Zufu, but he's an SS breed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the real problem with Zufu, is he's just
so stupidly slow.
Yeah, the Banfu is definitely something that's going to be interesting, especially if you can get a speed increase on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like a dazzling dance or something, because I think 317 then goes quicker than the Terraclaw, doesn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It puts him at 396 speed. It's just like the Jade Mist Dancer.
So then that's going to be really viable. Obviously, the Prowl will take you below, but you've got the Spirit Claws, the Moon Tears. But yeah, there's not really anything else that can get the Moonlight up. I mean, there's stuff like Moon, but then you're missing out on the Moon Dance.
Yeah.
Stardust, but then you're missing out on the swap. So it is kind of the Never Fairy Dragon, or it's not much else. I saw you, Lineker, you were using is it Ashana?
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it. I love that pet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a good pet, but she's pretty, and I just really like her. She's not half bad. She's just not fast enough. Like I wish she was.
Well, you described it as dead weight, I think, in the team.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was kind of making fun. She did okay. She did okay, but yeah, she was basically dead weight. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun pet. You can run Screech, so you can get faster. Definitely a fun pet for throwing into any sort of Moonlight team. But I just wish that there was a couple more pets. Because the big problem I do have with the Nether Dragon is, yeah, it has the self synergy of magic damage and Moonfire, but you really just struggle so much against any sort of mechanical,
Mm-hmm.
And so you're kind of forced to, if you're trying to run any sort of synergy team with Moonlight, you're forced to throw in a third pet that has elemental damage. And even then, you might be struggling.
I guess the only other pet is the Sentinel's Companion. I mean,
oh yeah, that's not.
Oh yeah, that's actually what I ended up settling on for my snail team.
It always does really well against me, and I've not really played it too much. But it's because it's got Moonfire and the Soul Rush, so then those kind of abilities can both hit really hard, and that's probably then its ratio drops off. But it's actually a really hard hitting pet.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think it's a really cool pet that I don't really see ever at all, and it's pretty easy to get too.
Yeah, and it's not even that expensive on the auction house. They usually sell for around 1K.
Yeah.
Oh, so another thing that I was thinking is I wish there was a weather effect that, other than Nocturnal Strike, I mean, not Nocturnal Strike, Darkness, that buffed flying type attacks. Because, like, you know how burning, or when you throw out Scorched Earth, it counts the target as burning, but there's nothing that, like, will buff flying type attacks in general. Other than how Darkness gives you a 100% hit chance for Nocturnal Strike.
Yeah, because with the burning, burning, there's Conflag, and then is it Deep Burn? Is that the other one?
Yep, Deep Burn burns twice.
So they've
I
kind of got
don't think it'd be too ridiculous if they just kind of added that to Arcane Winds. It already does magic damage, and the ability to avoid stuns and sleeps is okay. But I think if they just added, something simple, maybe either 10 or 25% extra damage to flying attacks, that could make it really nice for countering Emperor Crabs, because if you don't have a hard counter, they're really, really, really tough to take down. And so, if you don't have like a Nocturnal Strike user or just something with just a strong attack power and peck, it's really hard to take one down. And a well-played one is just going to swap out when it has a bad matchup, and then it's so hard to kill it.
Yeah.
That'd be a really nice addition. I agree with that.
Oh, so I found if they ever take our dragon type with aqua type moves, you know what pet they can use? They can use the Riddler's Mindworm.
Ooh,
because
that'd be cool.
That's an interest. Definitely a good model for it.
Yeah, because it's from the Naga boss in the Nighthold. Anyway, yeah, on the way home, I was like, that would be a good model for that pet.
That would actually be an incredibly good model. It'd be really cool looking.
Yeah. But
yeah, I still need to get that that mount, actually.
Oh, it's super easy. You should do it.
Know.
It takes like 35 minutes. Maybe.
Yeah, I haven't really been playing much actual WoW, and it's probably been a couple months. Just been pet battles. But that does look like a lot of fun to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm literally I'll log in, do the pet battles. I need to do Dead Mines before the reset on EU. Because I want to get that pocket cannon, because although it looks, I don't know, it looks interesting. I don't know how viable it's going to be, but
trust me, it's actually tier 4. It's so bad. It's so bad. So here's the thing: is I don't know if anybody else saw this, but like at the end of one of our tournaments, Nathan and I played a battle, and of course, he brings out his triple darkness team, and I'm just trying to have a good fun time. So I bring up my pocket cannon, 2 random pets, I don't remember what they were, but they were something that didn't do well against the darkness team. And I decided to bring in my pocket cannon. I think I was going up against like the rat or something. And so I charge up one of my abilities, shoot it, 10% miss under darkness. At this point, I'm almost dead because, darkness team just destroys your health bar. So I go ahead and explode myself to try to take him out, kill myself.
And you missed the explode?
And explode myself. So I literally did 0 damage with my pocket cannon and ended up killing myself in the process.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. But, right, Nathan. He says gotta love 90%.
Someone said to me it's a really good head game pet, in that you can kind of load your shots in and then they don't know which you're going to fire and stuff like that. But then obviously you've got to take 2 turns to load the shots. And then that's 2 turns of no damage.
Some sort of immolation user, or else you're just absolutely dead in the water against any sort of decoy or bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I was thinking that the Chromie pets were going to change the meta a little bit more, but I don't feel like they really did.
No, I've literally never. I think I've seen the Healy one once, and it wasn't really hard for me to take care of.
I quite like the idea of that Ben Time one, especially because I made that team with the Haunt, but because Ben Time doesn't work correctly or something, it's just not viable in its current state because you can't rely on it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had that thing where it locked all my abilities. Sometimes it doesn't unlock all the abilities and things like that. So because it's so unreliable, you can't it's not something you can reliably play and win and stuff. And they're so slow as well, those pets. They're not as quick as anything that's reasonable in the meta.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, right now, what's really strong in the meta isn't big cooldowns as much as cooldowns that just, let's be real, they need to get fixed. Like, the weakness ability for Wormy Tonkins
Oh
is just
yeah.
broken at a 1 round cooldown. And so, having something that, resets cooldowns isn't actually all that useful because what needs fixing right now isn't long cooldowns, it's short cooldowns. So, if you can, bump Jar of Smelly Liquid up to 2 round cooldown, and then maybe there's a couple abilities that could really just use a bit of tuning as far as cooldowns go to make it a little more fair, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main one that comes to mind. I'm trying to think if there are any others. Don't let me forget to talk about the Bone Serpent. That's definitely one pet that I've been looking forward to talking with Rosqo about, because I know we're pretty close to the same page on what needs to be done with that pet.
You mean the number one offender?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. Like, at first, I was like, "Oh, it's cool that there's something that can counter Terror Claws so well." But the reality is, of course, it counters Terror Claws because it counters literally everything. Like, there's nothing that counters a Bone Serpent, and it counters everything.
What are you talking about? The Sneaky Marmot or a rabbit? You can beat a Bone Serpent with a rabbit.
Oh, okay, that's true.
I'd say, but the Sneaky Marmot doesn't that well because
Yeah, it's really just rabbits.
The blind doesn't affect.
It doesn't affect. Yeah, that's true.
The only thing it affects is darkness, because let's go through it, and I don't know. I don't want to sidetrack too quickly, but while we're on the subject, what would you suggest, Rosqo, or how do you feel like it would be a good fix for the Bone Serpent without just totally gutting it?
I think it should either lose its Nocturnal Strike Darkness combo and kind of have something else, or swap over Bone Barrage and Death and Decay. It is then going to have a really lackluster main attack.
Yeah.
In the Death and Decay or Consume. But
okay. I feel like most people will take Consume at that point, but yeah, that's a pretty heavy nerf. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's just that.
Do you think it would still be tier 1 at that point?
No,
with the second one.
I think it would fall down into mid tier 2 kind of.
Yeah, kind of almost just a gimmicky pet.
Potentially, but then if you change it around too much, people could then potentially go with like your lift off and stuff like that.
Well, that'd be really cool. I'd love to see a Bone Serpent actually take a lift off.
I mean, you do see them. I do see them occasionally.
Yeah,
but then they kind of.
Rare.
I don't think I've ever seen one.
But then they're so gimped by it, because then generally they won't run Cool Darkness and things. It's the biggest problem is the Bone Barrage.
I agree with you on that, 100%.
Because it provides such a good counter to so many ways that you could kind of counter the Nocturnal Strike and Cool Darkness, in that you could bubble it, you could decoy it, and that like bubble as well. That's a really good potential way to deal with a Bone Serpent. I'm talking like a Mud Jumper, but it's just not viable.
Exactly. And also, I mean, there's other ones that people don't remember because, every time you queue, you're going to see a Bone Barrage or an Immolation or some sort of, decoy type breaker that is, basically just passive, just part of their rotation. Another one that's really cool that I've been suggested to use is Refuge for, the Phosphor Rats. That's actually a really cool ability that, if you run, it's a little bit risky, but if you say maybe run like Frostwolf Ghost Pup, Phosphor Rat, and then maybe another critter, or just just be happy with one critter so that you don't play a little bit too gimmicky of a team, that'd be a really cool way to block big nuke type abilities like Call Darkness, Nocturnal Strike, is you can refuge on your first pet, you can swap to your critter and take that. But with the Bone Serpent currently, you're right, like or a bubble or decoy, they're just gone instantly against a Bone Serpent, which there's that's a real problem. I think that'd be such a heavy nerf if they just straight up swapped Bone Barrage with um, what is it right now? Death and Decay. Nobody even uses it,
Yeah.
but I think that what would keep it as at a tier 1 pet, but also put it on kind of the same level as crows. Maybe a little. It would still be better than crows because of that undead racial, but not just totally gut it. Is I don't really think they need to keep Death and Decay. It's kind of a really weak ability, anyways. So if they do put Bone Barrage where Death and Decay is right now, so you have to choose between Bone Barrage and Called Darkness, and then just replace with where Bone Barrage is right now, with just some sort of basic, peck, or just either like a basic undead or flying. I think flying would be cool. Flying attack. Then you're putting him where he's kind of very similar to a crow, but doesn't have that, ridiculous ability to just break through decoys and bubbles like no big deal. Also, Bone Barrage just hits really hard, so it'd be cool for him to still have it available. But I do really like the idea where you have to choose between Bone Barrage and Call Darkness, because that way, if you want to use both Bone Barrage and Nocturnal Strike and have Darkness up, you're just forced to use another pet that throws out Call of Darkness, and that's fair. Any sort of synergy, fun team like that is really cool for the meta, and it's fun strategizing and kind of predicting. Oh, they threw out Darkness on this pet. I bet they're using Nocturnal Strike on their Bone Serpent, and then they might have Bone Barrage. It'd be really cool, I think.
And it also kind of forces players to actually think a bit more about their move set, whereas at the moment a Bone Serpent is it's fairly straightforward what you're going to play. Kind of 99 times out of 100 you know what you're going to meet when you get a Bone Serpent, whereas if you do kind of mix the abilities up, it's going to be a bit more kind of the person's going to have to kind of think about what they use. It isn't just going to be a matter of, okay, we can just run this Bone Serpent. It doesn't really matter about what other pets I put on the team, and it matters about the other pets they choose. I mean, generally people put Darkness pets with it anyway, but not always, because they sometimes people choose it as a sweeper.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'd really hate about when people play the Bone Serpent is they combine it with a Terraclaw Hatchling, and I just hate I hate the kind of anti-synergy between the healing in it.
And they still win because they're that strong. That's what's really painful. Is just like, they're not a good player. They're literally playing like a Pandaria team as far as rotation goes. Like, they do the same thing, and they'll still beat you just because of that raw damage. And then just, even with Darkness up, they still heal on the back line for just too much, which is crazy. I agree with you on that. And I actually do see that a lot in my meta still. Is, people just realize, oh, these two pets are great, and they don't even care that they're terrible together, or should be. They're so strong that they're still good when they're put together.
Yeah, it really irks me when I see them together. I'm just like, you've not thought about that team at all, but you're still gonna win because it's just so good.
I think I might even have a team like that. It's ridiculous how it's still good. Maybe I don't. No, I do. It's called FTW. I've been over this team.
Oh yeah. I played your FTW team on stream the other week, like a month ago or something.
Yeah, I threw on a Vengeful Porcupet, and it is truly cancerous.
See, I think the Vengeful Porcupet is probably the third strongest pet in the current meta.
Yeah, it really is. And people don't realize it, but the few that do. Disco Doggy was saying, he's seeing a lot. I actually haven't been playing that much during the day, and I think that's when he queues. So I haven't seen this player yet, but apparently there's somebody in our meta who's really been using and abusing that Vengeful Porcupet, and there's the reason he's tier 1. He's very good.
Yeah.
Especially if you can kind of get in there, get the speed up a little bit, not take too much damage. Especially if you pair it with a Terraclaw, you can kind of bring it in, get the speed up, perhaps take some damage with a Terraclaw, then bring the Terraclaw back in to heal up, bring back in the Vengeful Porcupet, get some more speed up, and then you're generally going to be quicker than anything. And then you can use the Spirit Spikes, and then actually start getting your flurries, flanks off.
Yeah,
and that's when you're really going to start punishing people.
exactly. Or
And
if you throw him
they
with any sort of haunting song and you can heal him while he's in the back line, like he's a monster. So, I mean, Wicked Soul Vengeful Porcupine is one of the strongest combos in the game. The only thing it doesn't have is a decoy breaker, just about.
Yeah, and speaking of decoy breakers, I wish that what is the vengeful porcupine have? He's
Oh,
got
yeah, Flank.
flank.
He would be a god pet with Flurry.
Well, no, I wish that flank, thrash, batter, that all the abilities that are triple hit abilities would break decoys. I think that would make the game like it would take it where we have right now just a handful of few pets that it's like, okay, well, they've got a decoy breaker because it's got like Death and Decay, which isn't like the greatest decoy breaker, or Bone Barrage, or Flurry. Those are like our main decoy breakers. Nobody really uses Comeback as a decoy breaker. But if they made it where all those abilities actually hit 3 times and could break decoys, I feel like it would really, really change our meta. Like, change the whole field entirely, and we'd see all kinds of pets instead of just any pet that's got Flurry, you know?
I don't think you'd see any decoys then though, because it would be so devalued by that. Because essentially, most pets could take out a decoy.
Mm-hmm.
That would be anything. I mean, what would be the point in using a decoy when kind of 50% of the pets could kind of take it out? It would become such a non-issue. People wouldn't even play to kind of counter it.
Yeah. Well, so I'm a big Destiny guy as well, and I'm just going to say that, and I'll probably spend a lot of time playing the Destiny beta and everything that's coming up with that. But I really wish that they addressed some pets and made them like coded abilities differently for PvE and PvP. And they've kind of finally gotten to that point in World of Warcraft where for years and years and years we've been working like at balances and class changes that affect PvE because of PvP problems. And I really wish that wasn't the case, but I think like it would be so great, if like decoy was more of a PvE ability. But I just really don't like decoy. So that's one thing that I bitch and moan about constantly.
I mean, I just kind of assume I'm going to run into a decoy when I create a team. And so like 95%, like 95+% of my teams will have a decoy breaker of some sort. Or I feel like it's an incomplete team.
Yeah, I agree.
See, a lot of my teams, I don't, just because the number of bone serpents in my meta, I don't even kind of take into account I might face a decoy. I take into account haunting teams, terror claws, bone serpents, and more recently I've been taking into account vengeful porcupets. But they're the kind of teams that I kind of take into effect. But I don't even consider decoys just because I kind of run into so few of them. I think it's not too much of an issue for me here. I think it's just the number of bone serpents. I mean, I would say 1 in 3 of my opposing teams will have a bone serpent on.
Wow.
Yeah, it definitely is the biggest problem pet right now. I have to agree with.
Well, I'm sure they'll bring it into line. I mean, it only took Blizzard, 2 years to nerf Graves? So
Graves was really, really ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, it may eventually happen, but I don't know when that would be.
It'll probably be when the expansion kind of ends and when the new one comes out, I'd have thought.
That's what I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they're going to change Tarot Claw, though, because honestly, like, the way it is, it's a great pet. It's just what makes it so strong is there's no counter. There's lots of counters, but there's no perfect counter as far as taking weak damage, dealing strong damage to Nature's Forge. So once they can create that Dragonkin with aquatic damage, at least the counter's out there, and I don't think that necessarily needs any sort of maybe making you choose between dodge and Nature's Ward or anything like that. I think it's fine. And it's definitely really, really strong and fun to have in PvE, because you can really do well against certain tamers. Like, I remember there's this one that's actually really hard to beat. There's like the robots in the garrison, the old garrison, that transform themselves into a critter. It's really hard to find a pet that takes weak damage from mechanicals, but does beast damage, because most beast damage dealers are beasts, and they take extra damage from mechanicals. And so that Terraclaw fits that description perfectly. Just take Claw and
throw a Nature's Ward.
throw Nature's Ward, and you can solo the entire team.
Yeah. And I like that there's some pets that are really powered and overpowered in PvE, because honestly, I'd say we're probably in the top 1% of people who do PvE or who do pet battles. Like, Rosqo, your team, you have over 800 unique pets, right?
Yeah.
And same with you, Lineker, right? You're pretty close to that.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm at 8. It says 806. I think that's incorrect. I think I have a little bit less.
Okay. So I am at right now on my Warlock it says 788, or my Demon Hunter, but I think I actually have more than that. So I'm almost at 800 pets, and so for like this core group of people who do pet battles, it's kind of scary to break into pet battles as a new player. Like, I remember when I first got into it, seeing the sheer number of pets there were, and then thinking, like, there's no way I can do PvP because I just do not know enough, and like I can't even beat half these tamers. Like, I remember the first time I went against the Pandaren Earth Spirit, and it was before I looked up guides or anything, and I was like, this guy is impossible, you know?
Yeah.
And
I felt the same way. It's like he just studs me.
Yeah.
And he hits so hard.
Seriously.
Can't kill him. Yeah.
So I think it's good that there are pets that are kind of like broken in PvE.
It's especially when people haven't got many pets. That's when it's really difficult, because you've not got many pets. So even though you maybe have a few that are strong against, say, what you're facing, they still might not do well. So that's when you really start to struggle. And then the thing is, when you've got, say, 800 pets, you've got literally loads to choose from. I mean,
seriously,
it's not hard to choose a good pet for pretty much any situation.
Yeah.
And especially because these people, even if they've got a lot of pets, they've probably not got a lot of them leveled up. They don't want to they want to kind of do this battle here and now. They don't want to go away and level up a pet for the next 20-25 minutes to come back to do it.
I'd be really curious, actually, to hear from someone who's new to pet battles in Legion, and to hear their perspective on PvE pet battles, the ones that were added in Legion. Because for someone like me, who, like, I actually just dare Blizzard to try to create a team in PvE that I can't beat with what I have right now. Because I have like hundreds of 25 pets. Like, I could counter anything I want. But for somebody who only has, say, 15 pets or 10 pets, and they're just getting started, I wonder what those tamers are like for them, because, it's probably really difficult, with a very limited supply. And there's no way for me to know, because, I see this and it's just like, I think PvP instantly. I'm just like, oh, a bunch of elementals, no problem. I'll just bring a Jade Mist Dancer and, GG, maybe a rabbit. Yeah.
Well, I've got really lazy now of all the tamers. I only do the ones with charms, and then when I have got them, I just try and do the quickest possible ones now. So usually it's just a haunt and then one of the Zandalari Raptors. Exactly. Regardless what it is now. I used to kind of have quite elaborate tactics, and now it's just haunt, Zandalari Raptor, probably get it done.
Yeah.
There's a few that it doesn't work on, and that's just a bit annoying. It's just I'm gonna have to take a few minutes to do this, not like 30 seconds.
I'm gonna have to bring out Inky.
Yeah.
Maybe even Chrominius.
Yeah.
There is that one, the stupid little Cro-Maggot, or what is his name? The all howl but no bite, whatever his name is. You know what I'm talking about?
Annoying.
Yeah. No.
I wonder what he's like if you don't have a Clockwork Gnome. Like, how are you supposed to beat him?
Oh my gosh.
Can you even imagine how hard that has to be?
I think I used 2 little blings on him.
Oh, that's an idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and Little Bling, you can buy him for like 100 gold.
Yeah.
All I do is like the falling coins thing, inflation is it, and then just the stampede ability. Just spam that. It probably isn't the quickest way, but it's definitely fairly easy.
It's
Yeah.
pretty easy. I mean, you just push your one key, go AFK for 30 seconds, come back, push your one key. I
Yeah,
love
because
that for PvE, like or the Nexus Whelpling. You know, you just throw out your mana surge and you just AFK.
yeah, any like bird trainers, just Nexus Whelpling, and I just use triple ones, just triple Nexus Whelpling, get one Arcane Storm up, and then just spam one.
Seriously, when doing Family Familiar, let's see, I'm actually getting fairly close. I think I've got like maybe 5 more tamers.
Ooh, rats.
But so much of it, it's like, oh, have I done this dragon team? Oh, let's see. Look at the pet. No, let's just throw in 3 Nexus Whelplings. And I say, when in doubt, Nexus Whelpling out. And yeah, triple Nexus Whelplings can kill like any tamer so far that I've ran across.
The hardest one of the dragons for me was the Flummox one.
Oh, I haven't even tried that yet. That has to be really hard.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the Wormy Tumpkins.
Yep.
Kind of
on steroids.
Yeah. That was the hardest. I think you have to do it with life exchange. I think
that makes sense.
Exchange.
Yeah.
But that was the hardest one.
I wonder if maybe I have done that.
So there's a guy, Lepaz Gaming. He does tons of PvE pet guides, and he's trying to do a series where you can beat every tamer in the Broken Isles with like 15 pets, and it's super useful. He's just doing it for new players, but maybe we can try to get him on the podcast in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. What sounds especially difficult to me about creating creating something like that is I could probably do that, but what's difficult is trying to find 15 pets that everybody's going to have, because not everybody's going to have a sneaky marmot yet. And I know one of my strategies that I just figured out that's really fun. Do y'all remember the Pandaren Fire Spirit with that stupid dragon that throws out a cyclone at the very beginning of the match?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and that makes it impossible just about to level a level 1 pet, and that's what I like to do whenever I do power leveling. I like to get a level 1. During Pet Week, it's like up to 16 or some ridiculous level one battle. Sneaky Marmot will solo the first 2 pets.
Really?
Solo, and he has blind on a 341 speed pet. So he blinds the Cyclone. Cyclone can't go out, and then you just basically have to have an MPD, something with Explode and just big damage to take out the last pet, and you can easily now power level a level 1 pet using that tamer, and it never used to be easy to do. I used to have to use the stupid spore, Zangar spore, and it was really awkward. I didn't like my strategy before. But what's difficult now is trying to find 15 pets, like I was saying, that newer players are going to have, because most people are going to have things like maybe rabbits, maybe not even the right breed rabbit, maybe a crab, but other than that, maybe they won't have all that great pets. Just like a lot of people start off with pets like the Darkmoon Tonk, Darkmoon Zeppelin, and they'll do okay, but not necessarily all that great all the time.
See, for me, the Darkmoon pets, those were like end game. Like, I didn't get those pets until I had probably 500 or 600 pets in my collection, just because the Darkmoon Tonk was another thing that I just stayed away from, because I was like, or the Darkmoon Fair, because I thought, oh, this is big, this is intimidating, like there's no way I could do this.
Wow.
Yeah, so maybe I'm an odd one when it comes to that, but yeah, I was terrified of trying anything like end game pet battle. I mean, I had probably 150 level 100 or level 25 pets before I did any PvP, and I was still terrified to do my first PvP match.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember getting my butt kicked, but I just didn't care. I was like, wow, what is this thing that's swapping me into the back line? And it's called, like, see you later, loser, or something. Like, and then I found out, oh, this pet's pretty cool. It's called a fiendish imp. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, I remember just getting beaten by Graves MPD, and being like,
oh, because you started in WAD. I feel bad.
I was like, this is so broken. Like,
Mhm.
it's just thinking, what can I even do here? Like, I
Mhm.
Right.
can't do anything to beat this player. Like, I honestly swear nothing I could do here would change this outcome. And I didn't have Graves, so there's nothing I could do.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then I got, like, the start of this is just like, okay, it's just Haunted Stall is just now the kind of the probably the go-to, followed probably by Bone Serpents. And it's just like Bone Serpents is probably the one that gives the most thing, but it's Haunted Stall is probably the most common.
Mhm.
I would say is the tactic.
I definitely have to say I
Ooh.
prefer going against all the hunt install teams now than the Graves MPD because at least there are a lot of things that you can do about hunt install. You can punish them with dots. You can punish them with mines. You can kind of figure out, oh well, aquatics do pretty well here, so I'll just soak the hunt. And there's a lot of things you can do. While you're right with Graves and MPD, like, as a new PvP pet battler, there's literally nothing you can do. And even as an experienced pet battler, there was just so little you could do that, there you could maybe run Frostwolf Ghost Pup in a couple like aquatic pets, but it was very stale what you could do that would actually get you wins against that type of play style.
Yeah. So speaking of all this PvP, Brawler in chat, he says thoughts on a PvP version of Family Familiar. I think that would be awesome. And I don't know how they'd have to do it, but like even if they just had a pet that you'd get for winning a game with all elementals, all humanoids, all dragon type, whatever it is. Because I think the only pet that comes from pet battles is the Direhorn, right? And that's at 250 wins.
Yeah, I mean, the Falcon Swords you can do a little bit of PvP, but it's not really much. Whereas the Direhorn is exclusively from it. I mean, what I would maybe prefer would be something like you need to win with, say, 30 or 40 separate different kind of pets in PvP from a family to get it.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like
just,
that's a really fun idea.
Like to win a game with like you have to win PvP matches with all of these different pets.
Yeah, opposed to the whole team. Because
I love both of those ideas, actually.
the only thing with the whole team is you're going to go, okay, I've got my 10 wins with aquatics to do. And then someone's going to realise that and going to be running kind of all
Just
flies
all
or something.
birds.
Yeah. And although, it's not a race to do, and you can just go, okay, I'll run my dragon teams with Nexus Whelplings, it's still... I'd much prefer it to be able to kind of still make good teams with good synergy and just use different pets in there. I don't know, it's just... That's what I would kind of prefer, because you can still make viable teams opposed to just gimmicky teams with all the same pets and abilities on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the checklist one you're talking about would be a lot more healthy for the meta, where it's like, all right, you got to win a battle with the Twilight Fiendling, and with the Zandalari Ankle Render, and with the Jadefire, and or maybe it'd be like not pets like the Jadefire Spirit, just pets that like everybody can have, like wild caught pets, and like a Squirky, and just like have a whole checklist of different pets, because that would be really fun. And it's like it's like an in-game challenge. It's that you have to try to win with maybe not the best pets.
Yeah, that would be super fun. I really like that idea, Brawler. If Blizzard was listening to this podcast, which I doubt that they will, because we're not that big yet. Someday,
well, to
maybe.
be fair, the community for pet battles isn't that big. So if you think about it, that's us. So they just might. So Blizzard, please give me a Dragonkin with aquatic.
Yeah, but they'll give it like a really slow speed, so it'll just be like
I
rubbish against everything
know.
else.
Just please give it. It's you know what? Here's what I said. I said same stats, same everything.
As
Just like
Purple Puffer.
a power breed and everything. Just make it a Dragonkin type Purple Puffer. Just like the same moveset as Purple Puffer. Maybe like change Healing Wave to Healing Flame to make more sense. But because it's a dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd make me so happy. I mean, there's a lot of other things, Blizzard. If you're still listening. Go ahead and do that change that I said on the Bone Serpent. Change Bone Brush just like Peck, and then he's a perfect Emperor Crab killer without being broken. That'd be cool. What else do I want from you, Blizzard? I have a wish list. I should have written this down. Blizzard, you did great. You did great, Blizzard, on PvE pet battles and Legion. Keep it up.
Yeah.
It's not all doom and gloom.
What I'd quite like is the Wicked Soul speed to be reduced.
Yeah, put it down to 325 or what?
Well,
I don't know.
Something
so
along
nice
those lines.
Faster than Fiendish Imp.
Yeah, but then like it's so out of line with all the other haunters. Because like the other haunters are the kid is 260.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they were like the haunts weren't they were strong, but they weren't super overpowered then. Whereas kind of now it's like, okay, there's not much you can do. You've got to run 3-4-1 to kind of do much about it, or kind of a flyer. Yeah, obviously with the Fiendish Imp, it would just come back again, wouldn't it? If it was
if it was
if it
lower.
wasn't.
Yeah. Speaking of the Fiendish Imp, I hardly ever see it anymore.
Oh yeah, because I mean it's nothing but Bone Serpent's a Wicked Soul.
Yeah.
I see it with Wicked Souls and Terrorclaws.
Yeah.
Or Ghastly Kids as well. That's what I see it with. Because obviously a Ghastly Kid's a good counter for a Wicked Soul.
Yeah.
It's a really fun counter too, because it doesn't just straight up destroy it. It does kind of play some mind games. It's like, okay, are you gonna go for your hunt? Then I might consume magic and be a special snowflake. There's a lot of fun things you can do with the Ghastly Kid, that whereas the Wicked Soul is kind of very one-dimensional.
I have been trying to run the Wicked Soul with Agony recently, and it does it works fairly well. I think I would still prefer Haunting Song as of a rule, but it's because I was being like a really bad scumbag and combining it with a Bone Serpent.
Shame.
And the final pet was a Vengeful Porcupine.
Wow.
So I mean, it is kind of one of my very best teams. So and it's not what I played much, but yeah, that was the only team I've tried it with, and it does fairly well because people trying to generally predict the haunt on a Wicked Soul as your first ability. So when you go for that Agony, it definitely kind of throws them.
Oh, that's true.
But it does obviously open you up to, say, a Ghastly Kid, because then you've got to think, well, do I want to haunt? What do I kind of want to do here?
Yeah, Gomirath might recognize that team as one Linica calls Evil Porcupine.
Yep.
But I do actually still run Haunting Song, just because, like I said, Haunting Song is so powerful with Eventual Porcupet. And as long as you just don't use your darkness, it's really no big deal.
Yeah. So your Evil Porcupine team that I have, whenever I need to pump out like a really quick couple of wins, I have 32 wins, 0 losses on that team.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's crazy strong.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really good. The combo is just, like I said, Wicked Soul with Vengeful Porcupet's already so good. And the only thing it's really lacking is, first of all, Decoy Breaker, and second of all, Emperor Crab Counter, which Bone Serpent's perfect for both of those, and that's why it's so broken. It's just like, you can't have both. You can't have everything, and Bone Serpent really just has everything. Like, he can break through any sort of walls, decoys, bubbles, anything, and he can nuke down any sort of healer except for elementals.
Yeah.
Which, I guess that's the only thing that Evil Porcupine might struggle against, is a Blossoming Ancient, but if you're running a team that literally the only thing that can beat it is a Blossoming Ancient, you deserve to get countered by a Blossoming Ancient.
I hate the Blossoming Ancient so much.
Oh, me too. But, like,
Even in the tournament, when Andy, I know you're in chat, so I don't mean to call you out, but your super healing team versus Hiru, I was like, wow. Wow.
I mean, I played one of those against Nathan, and it was, what was it? I played Ore Eater, Frostwolf, Ghost Pup, and the Torch. That was a pretty scummy team. I'm not very proud of that one.
Oh, was the Torch of Illuminate, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and I don't even think I ended up using a Illuminate. I was still just able to out heal with just the Ore Eater and the Ghost Pup. Like, those two together were so strong, because the Ore Eater's still really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in one of my recent videos, I used one of the HH. I think it's the Crusher, and at first, like I had such a bad run of games with it, and then in my video, I think I won every single game, and it's just because it's got such high health. It heals a bit like a idol.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that on a sunny day team would just be it's just a scumbag. Like
Oh
it would
yeah.
just be so bad because it would heal for like 100, 110, something like that every kind of tick of its damage.
Well, and on the back line too, if you want. Like, oh, you don't like your
Yeah,
matchup? Well, no, a dot, and then nana boo boo. I'm on the back line, and you can't hit me. And it's it's just infuriating because there's literally nothing you can do without AOE anymore.
I do kind of think backline healing should maybe be tweaked down.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I hear all these ideas, and I definitely agree. It's overpowered right now, but I just don't know it's fair without just totally removing. Basically, people are like, "Oh, just remove backline healing for the backline," and I'm like, "Well, okay, no, that's not fair." But then even 50% is that fair? Or is that too much?
I'd say
It's tough to say.
75%.
Wow, so you're really on that
The nerf
defense. I
train.
just don't know which
No,
side
no,
I
it
really.
would be so nerf it by 25%. So
Oh,
still
okay.
still
There we go. I like
75%.
that actually.
No, I don't hate it that much. I don't hate it 75%.
I'm just a 25% hater here.
Uh,
I kind of like that actually. That seems pretty reasonable.
It's still going to be strong with that, but it's not going to be as strong as it currently is, which I think is just a little bit kind of overtuned with the nerf to AOE, which was kind of how it was kind of. I guess it was tuned for that because it hasn't been changed since it wasn't kind of tuned down as far as I'm aware when the AOE nerf was kind of put in.
mm-hmm.
Well, and here's another idea that I really like is, these are some fun, really kind of specific tweaks that, are that I think sound really good. But sometimes you have to keep, the newer player in mind. And if you're adding all of these, like, kind of almost background, coding and stuff where it's like people might not even realize what's that debuff? Oh, backline healing, it's like some sort of dampening thing, like for your backline pets that you maybe have to have an add-on to see or something. It's a lot of things. So what might be a little better is if that was just straight up one of those, like Gomirath was saying, PvP only changes.
Yep.
So it's like in
Mhm.
PvE, if
Yeah.
you want to use a magical crowd or you want to use a tarot claw or a blossoming ancient and kind of have a slow battle, but one that you can win because you can just heal your pets in the back line, fine. But then in PvP, you bring in your blossoming ancient, don't expect it to be as overpowered because this and this, and maybe even then you could be like, okay, in PvP we're going to just straight up nerf backline healing by 50% or just something kind of over the top that really just discourages that sort of trolley play style.
I mean, the other solution would be some kind of dampening effect, because then you're not going to get these battles where they kind of go into 50, 60 rounds. Where I mean, I've spoken to people and they've been like, I battled with someone for an hour because neither of us would stop playing, and it's like, what? Why? I'd stop after 5 minutes if it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, if even that.
Yeah.
And I'll probably be deleting my video because I got to be throwing a tantrum, and I don't want my viewers to see that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, in the enemy, sometimes I see a blossoming ancient, and I'm like, oh, I don't have a counter, and I just quit.
Yep.
It's because I know better than to waste my time.
Yeah, I totally feel you. I just really don't like sunny day teams. Like, I am that salty little whiny girl who just gets so annoyed at sunny day teams. Yeah, I should call them salty day teams. That's a little bit more accurate how I feel about it. Just because I feel like that super stally, healy garbage, I don't know. I just don't find it at all fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to say what's really fair because it's definitely a bit overtuned at the moment. But at the same time, it's also pretty well countered by a lot of what you'll see in the meta.
Yeah.
A lot of Bone Serpent's Darkness users can really put the hurt onto a sunny day team. So I think people don't really, understand just how good it can be if you don't have a counter.
What is broken, and I know that you guys have discussed it before, is Drain Blood and Sunny Day.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, holy
Drain blood needs
smokes.
like a cool down overhaul or yeah, some sort of healing reduction because it's ridiculous right now.
Because it just can benefit too much from the Sunny Day, or kind of high health pets really benefit as well.
Yeah, I remember I think we decided not to ban the combo that could do that in that one tournament. I think it was Legion and Draenor wild caught pets, but basically I think everybody just kind of it was like a nobody said it, but I think nobody ended up playing that team just because it's like who's gonna do that? Like we're a nice community, at least in our in our tournaments. Maybe not so much in our PvPs, but for our tournaments, we try to be nice, and so I think everybody decided not to use that kind of team, just as like an unspoken rule, because it is so just it's no fun for the player. I mean, maybe it's a little fun for you if you're a cancerous person, but it's no fun for anybody to have to play against. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Especially without a counter, because it's you just know you can't win, and it's just like, well, like I don't I think I put a comment somewhere. I can't remember what form it was. I was like, I can't see where the fun that someone's playing it, and someone just put it's fun for the person playing it, and I just thought, is it that they're definitely going to win because their team is a lot stronger? Essentially, the team they've made is just a scumbag team.
Yeah, I mean, it might be fun for a couple battles, but there's no way it can be fun day in, day out. And that's what I don't understand when I see people playing the same exact Healy, Stolly, just mind-numbingly annoying team, just over and over, day in, day out, like 3 weeks in a row. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're still playing Wicked Soul Crusher and the fill-in-the-blank Healy or annoying pet. Like, can you not? Is this really fun for you? Or are you just a bot? I don't think it's but that's what's scary.
I mean, sometimes I'll get like a favorite team and play it for like maybe a week or so, but then I find myself just getting bored. I'm like, okay, I've played that team now, and generally like people in the queue will counter that team. So after a while, I'll play it and then just start getting countered more and more frequently, and then it's just like, well, I'm not really winning very often now with this team because essentially the meta's worked out what to do against this. So I'll just make a new team and just kind of start over.
There is one pet that I think needs addressing for sure, and I don't personally ever see it, but I know it's still out there. Is Merkelot's still there, and Merkelot's still broken, and I don't know. I've always said that the real issue is that speed on Righteous Inspiration. It's really easy for me to complain about him, and really hard for me to really be fair. Because I don't personally have Merkelot. I've never actually been on the side of Righteous Inspiration. I've always had to go against it. Like I've never even tried any sort of. I don't know if you can do PvP pet battles on a how do you call it, like a PTR. I can't. I've never. Yeah. I don't know if you can do that, but I've never actually used Righteous Inspiration ever. But I always felt like the real kicker is that speed increaser, because unless you perfectly predict exactly when that Righteous Inspiration is going to be used, there's nothing reactive you can do about it besides Smoke Bomb now.
I have stunned it a few times, which is really satisfying.
So it's great, but you have to predict exactly when it's going to go off. They've cast it, and
it's just like, I know you're going to do that. I'm just going to stun you, and you're not going to be able to use it. And they just sit there and that's stun. But you're right.
They're salty. They're salty.
Yeah, but it is the kind of the speed. I think the only reason it's not been addressed is because there's not many of them around. And it's not a problem really.
Because I think I've gone against like maybe Merkelot 2 or 3 times ever. But then again, I also, out of the 3 of us here, have way less pet battle experience than either of you two.
He definitely used to be in the meta a lot more. I used to see him like a whole lot. I would run into multiple Merkelots in a row, especially back when Graves was a thing, And then really he was the most common back in bot, because I think a lot of people just realized, oh, this is broken. Nobody's going to fix it. Okay. and they just played Fossilized Hatchling or Black Fuse Bombling with back then it was HH breed was the best because it would do the most damage with Armageddon. But they just use Black Fuse Bombling, Mercolite, and then fill in the blank, usually an MPD or something. And they literally just got their 5,000 wins in a month, and then just never played PvP pet battles again, which is honestly kind of sad because it's like there's so many people that could still be, working towards that 5,000, kind of contributing to the meta with interesting teams and fun ideas that got their 5,000 wins and thought, wow, this is such a joke of a game. Yeah, because they couldn't be beaten with if you played that team right, like. There didn't used to be Smoke Bomb. There used to be so few pets with even Ethereal, and the real problem wasn't, what are they going to do to you with to your frontline pet with it? It is, of course, they throw it with a Bone Storm or with an Armageddon, and they just annihilate, 2/3 of every single pet on your team's health, and then just have cleanup to take care of whatever else there is.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best kind of abilities to use with it now? Then would it still be Armageddon?
Either Armageddon or Fossilized Hatchling would probably be best. I see it used with random pets, and it doesn't really make much sense. Like, I'll see it used with, like, a Direhorn, and then they'll, like, use their Primal Cry, and, that's kind of lackluster. But it is still very much, very good with Bone Storm or Armageddon. Either one of those will do well.
I mean, I think I've got a video of it being used with MPD.
Yeah, MPD's not bad.
But it's still like there's not that many kind of abilities that are amazing with it, and I guess there's such a high cost with the Armageddon, especially with the amount of haunt teams there are now. Because kind of half the teams you're playing are going to be haunt teams. So if you're using an Armageddon, then you could potentially be only taking out or doing damage to 2 pets because you've taken a haunt. So there is the kind of that does kind of reduce the efficiency of that ability.
That's true. Also, of course, Haunters counter Mercolite very well. So there's that to consider. I don't know. I've just always felt like it would be a very cool but really not quite so overpowered ability if they either just took out the speed increaser completely so that you can react to it. You can see, okay, they have Mercolite. I'm going to bring in a pet with a stun or a blind, and I'm going to wait for them to use that, and then I'm going to hold out on my cooldown on purpose, and then use my cooldown as soon as they've just used Righteous Inspiration to counter them. And that's kind of basic just strategy and countering that. It's a little bit overkill whenever you have to perfectly predict, okay, I think now is whenever they're going to finally use that Righteous Inspiration. Because, of course, if they use it on the first turn every time, you can perfectly counter it by throwing out a stun or a blind on that first turn. But a smart player is going to, wait, see, oh, there's a Nightshade Sproutling. I'm just going to, hit him harder than he can hit me. And, if he doesn't use his blind, then, I'll just use Righteous Inspiration at kind of a random time, or I'll just wait until he does use the blind. And then, of course, I'll use it on the next turn.
It will be interesting if they ever kind of put it onto a pet that isn't through a promotion. So if it's a pet that everyone can get.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't put it on something like the Sun. I thought that was a really good opportunity for them to do that. But Sunborn Valk's very lackluster, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's the speed that lets it down on that. If
it'd be really cool if the speed varied.
Yeah, even if it was 325, it would be a lot more interesting than there was it 289, is it?
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, if they replaced like Holy Charge or Restoration with Righteous Inspiration, that'd be a really cool pet, even at the awkward health balance breed. Very cool.
Because they have done it. They did it with traps recently, didn't they? And they've done it with kind of other abilities. They did it with the Arcane Dash, with the Pharmacological Piglet. So they are kind of doing it. So if it ever does make it onto a kind of a pet that people can get, it's going to be them that they're gonna have to try and fix it or change how it works. Because then, I mean, everyone's going to use it if it becomes readily available.
Exactly, because it is still very, very possible to use it very effectively.
Yeah. Let's see, what other topics did you have, Roscoe? I will check it really quick. Your email, which was wonderful. Okay. So, this is just one thing I was thinking when we were talking. You know, one of my favorite pets of all time are power spiders. Just like the default spiders. I stinking love power spiders.
See, I love the SS spiders. They're my kind of go-to, especially the more recent 341 ones. Because of the Wicked Soul and Imp kind of popularity, just getting those dots and stuff up, it's a really good kind of punishment for people using those tactics.
Well, I mean, I love the Fell Spider. It's really not half bad. Anything with brittle webbing, whether it's speed or power, is really good against Clone Dance, so that's always fun. And then having Poison Fang and brittle webbing both available. If you play against kind of a body type of Clone Dance, like a lot of people just throw out their Cyclone, use their Ghostly Bite, bring their Jade Mist Dancer, do go through a very, very predictable rotation, you can really punish that playstyle, throw up a Poison Fang and a brittle webbing, and then suddenly that Blighthawk's just gonna die on the backline just about to dots and punishment from their Cyclone. I love spiders.
Yeah, so the tamer who is on the Broken Shore. It's the female. She's got like a fiendish imp and stuff.
Broken Shore, yeah, Madame Viciosa.
Yeah. Anyway, I went against her with just double spiders and then a level 1 pet, and it is hilarious to watch. Like, what's the name? It's the one that's got Dreadful Breath. It's the clone of.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
anyway,
the little Chaos Pup.
Yeah, the little Chaos Pup, and it cracks me up just to see them kill themselves on my brittle webbing. Like, it just genuinely just makes me so happy, and I love spiders. I think those are
the little things in life.
Yeah, it's because he uses Dreadful Breath, and then it just smokes him because it hits him 3 times, and so he uses it 2 turns, and then he's totally killed himself with just brittle webbing.
There was a couple of the HH spiders that I was enjoying playing with for a little while as well, because they're not that common. I think there is only 2 of them. There's one from I think it's Calamador, and then there's one from the Broken Isles. But they're both.
Never realized it existed.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called. Spider. The Venom Spitter Hatchling is one.
Venom Spitter Hatchling. Oh,
that's a pretty small health pool for a health though. Do you have to say?
It's because it's because it's got that extra speed, isn't it, in attack?
Yeah, he has for an HH, he has really good attack and 76 each.
And I'm sure there is another one, but it's one of the ones for Drained Blood, I think.
Oh, I didn't realize that was an HH. That actually sounds. I didn't realize there was an HH available.
Yeah, the
crystalline blue. HH. Wow, that's actually really pretty good. I don't know. I feel like Power Speed is still kind of best just because it's the fastest available spider with Drained. That was one of my pets that I put on that Cancer team for the tournament with, I believe it was the Golden Dawn Feather and the Brilliant Blood Feather. It's really strong.
Okay, so, are there enough rewards for PvP pet battles? Thoughts?
I mean, definitely not. You just look at the meta right now, and there's so few people out there because there's just no incentive. Besides just a couple people who like Disco Doggy, us of course. Which, by the way, Nathan wanted to give Disco Doggy a big thank you. Thanks for the shout out to his channel. Still working on getting those videos out, but he just wanted to give him a shout out for.
Oh, nice.
But there's just a few of us who are who genuinely enjoy pet battles, but then there's really nobody else because what is there, a 5,000 wins achievement that doesn't even give you a title or anything? it's a nothing achievement. It'd be really cool, pet, or at least a title or something, so that you can kind of show that off. But I don't know. I mean, I personally would be a huge advocate of something like for those 10 wins that you can get a week from the quest from somewhere. I literally don't even do that quest because like it doesn't give me anything I care about.
Oh yeah,
if that thing gave you like a 25 stone,
yeah,
that would incentivize so much more playing. Maybe not the best thing for the meta as far as what kind of teams you'll see, because you might see a lot of people playing really competitive teams being like, I don't care about the meta, I just want to get my 10 wins. But at least they're out there, you know. Like,
yeah.
It's when I make a video, I've gotten to the point where I can't make videos that I don't run through my editor, because I have to cut out like the 30-minute wait times between battles, or else that's it's nobody wants to watch me talk for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them because the queues are really, really, really slow. Because there's no incentive.
Although
well,
oh, go ahead, Rosqo.
Yeah, I don't think it would bring out the worst teams, because the weekly event doesn't, or the not the weekly, the monthly event doesn't really bring out the worst teams. I think it just, because it brings out such a mixture of people, it just brings out a mixture of teams. I mean, yeah, you get the people that play the kind of the triple bone serpents or your terror claws and stuff like that, but at the same time you get the people that bring kind of their fun teams, like your idols, which you seem to see all the time in that weekly event.
Exactly.
But but you would, I mean, I think you would just kind of see a more balanced meta. It's definitely, there's not enough incentive. I mean, unless you enjoy it, which we do, there's not really enough incentive for people that perhaps like it. But when there's other things to do as well that do have some kind of incentive. I mean, everything else in the game does reward something to do it. Like whether it's gear or things like that. I mean, even if it was just pets or something like that you could get.
That'd be so cool.
Because
people would do it.
Yeah, I mean, during Draenor, like everybody was running their daily garrison mission because it offered how many pets?
Like 13 or something. That's a
lot. Yeah, you get like 13 pets.
A lot of them are really good.
And it's like, granted, one of those pets is the bone serpent, which we could have probably been a lot happier if that never got introduced to the meta. But still, it's like, for me, I remember when I was finally up to the point, like where I had beaten the Pandaren Tamers, because I didn't get into pet battles until the very beginning of Legion here. And anyway, I just thought it was so exciting to me to be doing that and be like, oh, there's a chance I'll get a pet. And the first time I got a pet, it was that stupid bird, like Califrey or whatever. It's the fire bird. But it was still so exciting to get a new pet. And now I think it's still very exciting for me to get a new pet, because I'm at the point where every pet that I get that's new, it's like, oh, a new pet, hooray.
Well, at this point, if I get a new pet, that's going to be something rare. Because I already have the easy campaign one, so like now I get a new pet, and I'm like, oh my goodness, thank goodness, I finally got this, this like a class order hall pet, something that's really pretty difficult to obtain, and it just feels great because it's a rare pet.
Same here.
Something just occurred to me that is very much inspired by Brawler's idea earlier. I definitely agree with Rosqo that it'd be kind of unhealthy for the meta for it to be like a familiar type thing where it's like you have to do all three of the same type. But what I think would be so cool and also would really incentivize doing more PvP pet battles is what if there was another quest that you can do every week where it's like, maybe offered by the same person, but it's like you have to get 10 wins, 10 PvP pet battle wins with at least one type of, or with at least one, say, humanoid pet one week, and then one dragonkin pet the next week. And it's just like it would randomly change every week. And so, you don't have to use all the same, but you have to use at least one, say, dragon, and get 10 wins with that. And then if you get that achievement, you can get your 25 stone. Really, really nice incentive for you to do that. I think that would be a lot of fun, and it would also be, you would kind of go into the meta expecting, all right, it's Magic Week. Better bring out something with Dragonkin damage, or maybe not too much aquatic damage, or you're gonna have trouble. And I think that'd be really kind of fun for kind of shifting the meta. Just maybe not anything like crazy, but you're going to be like, you're going to, what you're going to see for a little bit. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. In that each week it's slightly shifted towards, like you said, magic or humanoid, so that your teams have to kind of reflect that in a way. It'll also mean that there's going to be still the best teams, but there's not going to be a best team ever, because one week your kind of Bone Serpent team isn't going to do well when it's Critter week, because people are going to be running rabbits, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah. So another person in chat, this is Warmaster Gaming, says, hey, can you guys suggest any pet battle channels other than your own that are good?
Oh, there's a lot right now. That's the thing that's so great. Is like, of course, there's Rosqo, Gomirath, myself. It's always been Disco Doggy,
the Hiru.
And Hiru. There is Hazelnutty Games has the best PvE guides. You're just Lapsy.
Yeah.
He also does really great PvE guides. And he's quite a bit smaller, so not everybody knows about him. So he's great. There's Dragona and Crazy, but they don't upload as much. I think Dragona's taking a break, but I love their videos.
Close to Zero's just kind of starting.
Oh,
off.
yeah.
I didn't even realize he uploaded videos, and I'm binging on his videos. It's been really fun. I love his teams.
Yeah, I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, and he was in the tournament as well. So I often talk to him because he's in the kind of the group Discord, and he's definitely kind of got some good ideas, and he's always kind of saying about like what teams he's trialing out and stuff like that. But he seems to have the worst luck in the queue. He seems to always be running into like triple sunny day teams, and he's just like, oh, I went to record a video and I've run into triple sunny day teams,
exactly. Poor guy.
and I'm just like, I've never run into these teams at all. I don't know when you're queuing or what's happening. Because like you can't, like, you can maybe do like one like sunny day team, but you can't keep doing them because it's not the best content, because it's a little bit boring to see it. We can do one or two, but he's just getting really unlucky with the matchups he's getting. But hopefully he can get a few kind of better ones so that he can get some kind of really decent stuff up. Because some of the teams he's suggesting, I think he said about the Foxling and Wormy Tumpkins, he was kind of playing around with that idea as well, like your recent video, Lineker.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know what his thirds were in it, but I know that he was saying it was just an absolute beast. Because when Wormy Tumpkins is quicker, he is just kind of like a god mode pet.
For real, I mean, he's constant uptime on basically just 50% mitigation, which is a little buggy. I'm a little salty about that one time where I still got one shot by an Arn Starlet because I didn't realize how damage increasers combined with damage decreasers work, but now I know better. For those of you who don't know, if say you throw up a supercharge and you have 150% extra damage, and then somebody throws Jar of Smelly Liquid at you, or throws up Crouch or something that's 50% damage reduction, it doesn't actually just cut the entire hit in half. What it does is it subtracts 50% from that, or not, it doesn't literally subtract 50%. It just subtracts 50 from that 150% damage increaser from Supercharge. And so, or not Supercharge, I was thinking of Prowl. So Supercharge is 125%. So if you have Crouch and Supercharge, you effectively still have a 75% damage increaser, which is quite a bit more damage than if you just cut the entire attack in half. And especially with Prowl. With Prowl, it's still just 100% damage increaser rather than cutting it in half.
But there's so many of the tooltips are misleading like that, though. It is tricky to kind of get what's going to happen with which and things like that. Because I know it was I had Celestial Blessing up on Alpine Foxing, and I was like, I'm going to use Crouch here. This is going to be really good.
Oh yeah, it's going to be like 75% damage mitigation, and then where's my Celestial? Where's my Celestial Blessing though?
Just overwrites it. I was just like,
that was so sad. I remember that. Also, before I forget, there is, of course, Nathan's channel. He hasn't been uploading videos yet, but he's working on it. And then Andre doesn't do commentary, but he has really fun teams, and I love his channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one is Simri Jones, just PvE for her.
Yeah.
But I love her channel. She always gets kind of the first videos out on new pets and teams and stuff. And those are the first pet battle channels that come to my mind.
Yeah, I think those are great. So Warmaster Gaming also asks, hey, what do you guys think of the data mine pet Naxi? Have you guys seen anything on Maxi yet?
I
It's
have.
from Hallow's End, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from Hallow's End.
One.
Is it in our
I don't think
yet?
it's in our journal yet. Let me see.
How do you spell it?
Naxxy.
AXXY.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's
Let me
not
look
there.
this up. I actually haven't heard of it.
Yeah, if you are a member of warcraftpets.com, there's a great article all about it there. Oh, that's a fantastic website. If you do pet battles at all, it'll tell you like what your how you compare to other people on your server. I stinking love that website. Just because it tells you how great
not
you are.
another drained blood user.
Yeah.
Aw, man. That's just what we needed. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so tanky.
Yeah.
So what I see, it's got Leech Life, Sticky Web, Death Coil, Drain Blood.
Dang.
The thing is, it doesn't specialize in anything really.
It just has a lot of healing moves.
Yeah.
It looks like. So do you have to choose between Leech Life and Drain Blood?
Yeah, it looks like you do. They're both in the third slot.
Okay.
So I'd probably use Drain Blood.
Yeah, I'd probably run Death Coil. You could run Frost Nova to be annoying, or Sticky Web. Either of those basically do exactly the same. Probably Sticky Web. Feel like. I don't know. Either one just does the same thing. So, doesn't look like it's gonna be OP. Just gonna be really annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those pets. If you haven't got a counter for it, it's just going to be difficult to take down because it's HH as well, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
PP.
But I mean, a rabbit will easily take it out.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we've got-
but that HH with Drain Blood, if you put it on a sunny day team, that's going to be really hard to kill without a counter. Like, I would venture to say impossible to kill without a weather changer, or at least like a rabbit or something that can dodge the Drain Blood.
But isn't the Drain Blood's of the enemy's health, isn't it?
Yes. Still, just it's so tanky, and under sunny day, his health pool is going to be like 3,000 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge.
Don't tell people about that because otherwise we'll start seeing them with like bottom ancients.
Oh,
Oh,
goodness gracious.
Yeah, definitely not a huge fan of.
Okay, let's see. Is there anything else you guys are thinking about or on your mind you want to talk about?
I think I hit most of the points I wanted to address.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I've kind of gone through a lot of mine.
This is one thing that I'm thinking. I really hope there's a catch-up mechanic that makes it easier to get order hall specific pets. Like for example, Banfu
sure.
and the DK ones. Like the DK is what I'm going to be doing next, but it's just such a tremendous grind to get those pets.
Agreed.
Like, especially if, that's not your main, then you're committing to some serious, like really, really serious grinding.
I mean, I main a priest, so I don't even get one on my main, which means I have to level up like all the leveling up my rogue, have to level up my DK,
Yeah.
have to go through the whole thing on my monk, though it's leveled up. It's pretty painful.
Yeah, I main a mage, so I'm in the same situation. But it is kind of. I don't understand why they've done it for only some of the classes.
Yeah. That's another
It's just
thing.
it's just really kind of it's just frustrating. It's just like, well, you don't main these classes, so you just kind of lose out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, the other thing is it's not even balanced. Like DK gets 3,
Yeah.
and then Rogue gets an equivalent of something you can go catch out in Draenor. Like, it's like the DK one has really cool pets, and then the Rogue really has a league, and then some don't even have any. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely an interesting dynamic how they did that. I don't really agree with it. Be surprised if they do anything like that in the future. But as long as they do something where it's like, they put them all in a vendor so that you can just buy them all with, garrison research or order hall resources. Um, so that you can just do that on your main at like maybe at the end of the expansion. Yeah, I think that'd be a good fair way for you to just purchase them, because there's nothing that's really broken anyways. It's just they're cool pets that I'd love to get to use. I just haven't had a chance to really earn any of them. I think I got the shaman one. I have both of the druid ones and like one more, but I still have so many more to get.
Do you have the one from the DK and Warlock?
Oh, I still need to get the warlock too, and no DK neither.
Well, I mean, the
apparently
DK and Warlock have the same one.
What? Oh, you're talking about the DH?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Demon
No, I
Hunter,
still need to
Warlock.
get. I have a lock. I have a lock that could get it. I just haven't bothered to get a group together to get it yet.
isn't it like really quite random?
Yeah, it
the
is.
lock one, though?
I did it every day on my Demon Hunter and on my Warlock for almost 3 weeks before I got one to drop for me.
Oh wow,
So,
I'm scared now.
Yeah, but I've had other people say like, "Oh, I got it my very first one." So yeah, it took me 30 attempts, probably about 30 attempts to get it. Well, yeah, over 2 different characters. So it took a minute.
At least none of the pets are tier 1, because that would be when it would be a really painful to do.
I don't know. I think Banfu's not a bad pet. I think he's at least a high tier 2 pet, being an SS.
Yeah, he's definitely not tier 1, but he's
Yeah. But
imagine if it is something like a Terraclaw or like a Wicked Soul or something that you just had to get, like or like a Bone Serpent. Then it would just be such a grind, and it'd be something that like nearly everyone who enjoyed or wanted to pet battle would probably have to go and get.
Yeah.
And at least it's not that, but I guess it could have been. It could have very easily been potentially if the pets had kind of been slightly different. I mean, I think the DK pets could be quite strong. Just being undeads, it makes them strong already.
Mm-hmm.
I think I ran into a team with like 2, but it was a cool team too. I just had a way to counter it because I think he was using a lot of dots, plagued blood, and so just swap.
Yeah,
but still very cool.
Well, Rosqo, I don't know. I think that the 3 of us on a podcast is pretty good. If we had 3 regular hosts and then we got other people in, how would you feel about being a regular?
Yeah, no, that sounds fine with me. Obviously, the time difference is fine today because it's fine today because it must be like midday, like on a lunchtime. Is it for you?
Yeah,
yeah, it's a nice easy day for us. What time is it for you at the moment?
At the moment, it is 8:45.
Okay, that's not too late.
Which
so
is
it's like almost time to go to bed. Gotcha. Yeah, it's like 3 in the afternoon for me.
See, now is perfect time. I mean, I haven't got work. It's just the evening. I'm not doing anything, so these kind of times are fine. But when you guys do have work and stuff in the week, it'll be a bit tougher. But stuff like the weekends is when I could potentially be available as well, and I can obviously stay up a bit later then. But yeah, I'm kind of happy to be a kind of a regular third host.
Yeah.
Providing we can kind of do it with the time difference as well. But I'm kind of happy to be as flexible as possible. Obviously, I don't want to stay up until the small hours of the night. But But yeah, I'm fairly kind of happy to try and kind of meet you guys halfway for sure.
Yeah. So for our next podcast, Lenica, how would you feel about trying to recruit Disco?
That'd be awesome. I'd love to hear from him. I know remember in his last video that I just posted yesterday, he said he's going to be out of town for like a week. And I mean, I'm also going to be out of town for the next couple of weeks, so
Yeah.
it'd probably be maybe 4 weeks before we could. But yeah, definitely I will do my best to recruit him, because of course he does have the most experience of anybody like that does PvP pet battle videos or anything. Disco Doggy obviously has the most experience, so it'd be really nice to hear from him as to what he thinks of the current meta. I did just remember there is one more thing, Blizzard. If you are still listening, please create some sort of server so that EU and US can play together. Like, please, 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 please. Because
that
I
would
would
be so
love
good.
to get a play with close to Zero and Rosqo. And it's really kind of sad that we can't do our tournaments just because, we're on different servers. Like, that's kind of a huge bummer.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the year 2017. Like, we're all in Discord together.
That's correct, Blizzard. Come on.
Yeah, get with the times, okay? So
And like stuff like the MS and stuff doesn't really matter with pet battles. It's not like it's a reactionary thing, is it? It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how quickly.
Better kick. You have a 5-second
window
time or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, if you're going to be out of town, Linica, for the next week, Rosqo, I will just be in touch. Now that we have each other's email, we can just plan the next one. And maybe I can get La Paz Gaming, and we can just do kind of a PvE-focused podcast. Because he's...
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, he's super PvE and other things to talk about. But anything from the chat? Floating Hourglass would be awesome for Mage Pets. Nothing else significant from chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Taming Azeroth. We had the amazing and beautiful Rosqo, the charming and stunning Linica, and then Gordy Gomirath. That means
awesome.
fat
Thank
in
you all for
Spanish.
tuning in. Yeah, Gordo.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
I do like that idea for the mage pet, though. Whoever thought of that? Good
Yeah.
idea. That's fun. And it could be like a fast pet with bend time. That could be really cool.
Yeah, that does sound awesome. All right, well, hey.
That was sheep.
Oh yeah, random polymorph.
Oh, that would be so cool if it was a pet that was polymorphed. Like, it could be like a power dragon or something just awesome, but that looks like a sheep. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
All right, well, hey, guys, take care. Have a fantastic day, and I will talk to y'all later.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in.
Okay.
See you around, guys. See you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Rosqo.